Isolated by thousands of miles of open ocean, lies a world seemingly suspended in time. It is a harsh, volcanic realm, carved from raw basalt and sculpted by relentless tides. Here, life has adapted to some of the most unforgiving conditions on Earth, giving rise to extraordinary creatures found nowhere else on the planet. Welcome to the Galápagos Archipelago, nature's ultimate living laboratory. Freezing morning mist sweeps across the unforgiving basaltic volcanic rock of the Galápagos Islands. Thousands of prehistoric marine iguanas lie paralyzed by the bitter equatorial night. A dominant male draws a shuddering breath, desperate for absent solar warmth. His nasal glands forcefully expel concentrated sea salt into the chill air. Massive Galápagos sea lions breathe easily in dawn's freezing light beside them. Crashing waves batter iguanas whose sharp claws grip porous rock like iron. A solitary lava heron steps silently across razor-sharp basalt to hunt pools. A red Sally Lightfoot crab picks dead skin from an accommodating iguana. The flightless cormorant vigorously shakes heavy ocean water from its vestigial wings. Ancient reptiles and mammalian predators coexist upon a desolate, fire-shaped coastline. Driven by instinct, the marine iguana aligns eastward like a solar panel. A swallow-tailed gull glides effortlessly on rising coastal updrafts high above. Primitive territorial disputes demand crucial energy expenditures between rival males at dawn. Sharp keratin talons anchor heavy reptiles against gravity and violent crushing surf. Reptiles wait like stone gargoyles while mammalian pups stir in the wind. Beyond the shoreline lies an arid coastal scrubland completely deprived of water. Large marine iguanas drag cold bodies inland through dusty, brittle vegetation. Fearless lava lizards use lethargic marine iguanas as elevated display platforms. The Galápagos mockingbird aggressively scours barren dirt for tiny surviving insects. Ancient reptilian titans move at a pace dictated purely by solar energy. Iguanas merge into a dense thermal huddle to survive cold nocturnal drops. A blue-footed booby preens pristine plumage to maintain vital aerodynamic efficiency. Every posture maximizes heat absorption from the brightening overcast sky above. Ectothermic regulation slowly kicks their cold-blooded metabolism into gear as temperatures rise. Sea lions possess blubber, but iguanas remain at raw nature's absolute mercy. Instinct drives marine iguanas toward turbulent waters they must soon plunge into. An endemic species, the Galápagos penguin fearlessly plunges into freezing ocean currents. Before diving, the iguana repeatedly licks dry lips, preparing for the shock. Warmed iguanas slowly untangle rigid limbs from their tightly bound cluster. The Galápagos giant tortoise extracts meager hydration from dry scrubland grass. Rising tides flood basaltic craters, transforming coasts into sunlit aquatic labyrinths. Energized by heat, marine iguanas transform from statues into rapid sprinters. A nimble Sally Lightfoot crab navigates vertical volcanic walls to escape surf. A dominant male violently shakes off persistent swarms of coastal flies. Massive mammals dry thick fur alongside bustling ancient reptilian coastal colonies. Marine iguanas bulldoze through dense coastal scrubland to locate suitable nesting spots. Evolutionary biology shines as finches extract parasites from a grateful giant tortoise. Despite lethargic appearances, iguanas react instantly to the sound of shifting rocks. Grinding shoving matches between armored males determine crucial hierarchy and mating rights. Moving like a glacier, the ancient tortoise continuously reshapes dry terrain. Hundreds of reptiles violently snort concentrated sea salt in a chain reaction. The endangered waved albatross rides coastal thermals with breathtaking aerodynamic mastery. Sharp claws provide an unbreakable anchor against deadly, crushing ocean waves. Adapted eyes allow the marine iguana to continually observe the shifting tide. A Galapagos fur seal asserts dominance over shorelines, pushing reptiles aside. The equatorial sun superheats black basalt, forcing iguanas to vent excess heat. The Galapagos hawk intensely surveys vulnerable coastal colonies from high vantage points. Young iguanas rely on deep volcanic crevices to escape terrifying hawk attacks. Galapagos land iguanas evolved armored mouths to consume agonizingly sharp cactus spines. Ancient inhabitants seek crucial sanctuary inside immense shells during midday heat. Warmed marine iguanas brave crushing surf, transforming into powerful serpentine swimmers. Magnificent frigate birds ride thermal currents above warm basalt without flapping wings. Flightless cormorants evolved into efficient aquatic torpedoes suited for shallow coastal diving. Flattened tails act as organic propellers through deadly, pulling ocean currents. Mammalian predators watch passively as reptilian colonies plunge into freezing waters. Heavy land iguanas rely on meager scrubland shadows for midday heat survival. A yellow warbler intensely scours harsh, drying brush for tiny insects. Giant tortoises seek shallow volcanic mud pools to regulate colossal body temperatures. Tiny lava lizards rapidly abandon sun-drenched outposts as oppressive heat builds. The island grinds to a halt beneath the brutal midday sun. The equatorial sun superheats black basalt, transforming islands into sweltering ovens. Cold-blooded iguanas cram into deep volcanic crevices, offering vital, life-saving shade. Active Sally Lightfoot crabs seek shelter to prevent evaporation in stifling heat. Marine iguanas gape their mouths wide for evaporative cooling in oppressive stillness. All movement completely ceases at midday, forcing an eerie, sweltering silence. Noted by Charles Darwin, marine lizards scrape algae using blunt snouts underwater. Galapagos penguins transform into agile hunters within the freezing Humboldt current. Freezing ocean water severely saps reptile strength, making climbs back exhausting. Specialized claws grip smooth basalt underwater, despite the devastating pull of tide. Sea lions largely ignore vulnerable marine iguanas, preferring fattier aquatic prey. Coated in volcanic mud, tortoises barricade against life-threatening midday sun temperatures. Mockingbirds halt foraging, surrendering completely to the necessity of midday shade. Finches utilize massive sleeping tortoises as living canopies against harsh sunlight. Land iguanas sprawl flat on dirt to absorb cooler, shaded earth. Resilient inhabitants share forced hibernation during the punishing zenith of day. The Galapagos racer expertly navigates dark, cool labyrinths of volcanic crevices. A lava lizard relies on flawless volcanic camouflage to survive approaching predators. Lava herons avoid midday heat inside sea caves, ambushing prey silently. Snakes coil tightly in darkness to retain hydration in the baked air. Fur seals sleep openly in sweltering heat due to their thick blubber. Superheated basalt creates rising thermal columns for soaring apex predators to patrol. Frigate birds inflate vivid red pouches for courtship displays, despite overwhelming heat. Nazca boobies act as living thermal shields for eggs on sheer cliffs. Lethargic iguanas remain vigilant of deadly shadows circling ominously above them. Aerial masters effortlessly ride heat waves far above the sweltering coastal chaos. Cold iguanas scramble onto rocks before their muscles fail entirely underwater. Marine foraging drops core temperatures so dangerously low that walking becomes impossible. Hypothermic reptiles violently shiver to generate internal warmth through desperate biological reactions. Returning to land, iguanas forcefully expel toxic salt ingested underwater. Inhabitants slowly emerge from forced lethargy as midday heat finally passes. The oppressive midday atmosphere breaks into cooling ocean breezes and afternoon shadows. Iguanas flatten rib cages into solar panels to harvest the fading sun. Waved albatrosses return to land with famously clumsy, heavy, ungraceful landings. Sally Lightfoot crabs strip away salt-damaged shedding skin from resting iguanas. Coastal inhabitants prepare bodies for harsh temperature drops as shadows lengthen. Re-energized males clash over prime territory for the impending nocturnal freeze. Beachmasters brutally defend harems from incoming challengers during cooling late afternoons. Apex predators strike with silent precision, while coastal rocks protect smaller creatures. Battles of dominance cause hardened volcanic rock to crumble under sharp claws. Ancient tortoises observe chaotic mammalian dramas playing out upon cooling coastlines. The island transitions into frantic late-afternoon activity before freezing night arrives. Marine iguana colonies migrate to higher ground above the high tide line. Swallow-tailed gulls deliver oceanic catches to the safety of high cliffs. Heavy sea salt and equatorial sun force iguanas into uncomfortable shedding. Mammals and reptiles frantically prepare their bodies for severe nocturnal chill. Land iguanas consume fibrous calories before dusk sets in completely. Opportunistic mockingbirds harvest dense swarms of evening insects around iguana colonies. Lowering temperatures trigger instincts to merge into a heat-sharing superorganism. Iguanas purge toxic salt before settling into cold-blooded nocturnal torpor. Giant tortoises rely on mass, while smaller iguanas combine their bodies. Lava herons execute silent aquatic ambushes within tide pools using shadows. A Galápagos racer seeks insulated sanctuary inside subterranean burrows as temperatures drop. Colonies transform into a single breathing fortress of scales for survival. Without solar energy, consciousness fades into a life-preserving reptilian torpor. Impending night divides the island's unique biodiversity through contrasting evolutionary strategies. Reunited albatrosses reaffirm unbreakable lifelong bonds through complex courtship fencing displays. Stripped of solar energy, reptilian mounds petrify against black volcanic stone. Vibrant crabs vanish into deep, microscopic basalt labyrinths to escape cold. Interlocking anatomy allows iguanas to create a perfect biological thermal shield. Giant tortoises use sheer mass, while smaller iguanas face the darkness together. Stacked several layers deep, colonies achieve perfect thermodynamic efficiency against the night. Vanished updrafts force the Galápagos hawk to seek shelter from the wind. Razor-sharp cacti thorns provide sanctuary for small inhabitants against the freezing dark. Marine iguana heart rates plummet to conserve dangerously low stored energy. Life here remains a relentless cycle of continuously enduring cold nights. Crashing surf reveals the brutal desolation of the archipelago at twilight. Land iguanas burrow deep into dust for insulation from the cooling earth. The entire colony shivers in a synchronized undulating wave for vital warmth. Ancient inhabitants surrender consciousness to the inevitable, oppressive equatorial night. Warm-blooded mammals and cold-blooded reptiles endure the long darkness side by side. Mounds of reptiles resemble ancient volcanic formations silhouetted against dying light. Aerial rulers bow to darkness, tucking their heads away in howling winds. Crabs vanish into blowholes, leaving treacherous surfaces entirely to the violent elements. Paralyzed by chill, iguanas rely entirely on shared collective body heat. Ancient inhabitants stand completely still, locked in prehistoric hibernation as darkness claims the archipelago. The colony shivers in unison to maximize collective heat generation against the night. Hypothermic late arrivals drag their cold bodies over the sleeping colony to survive. Endemic penguins rely on dense, specialized plumage for life-saving insulation against wind. Intertwined tails ensure structural integrity for the massive colony against crushing winds. Warm breath from sleeping mammals contrasts sharply with freezing, silent reptilian monoliths. Entering suspended animation, colossal reptilian mounds brave the harsh realities of night. Fragile songbirds find crucial safety in total immobility within the thorny scrubland. Nazca boobies act as living thermal shields on sheer volcanic cliffs. Breathing in sync, individual reptiles function as one heat-sharing super-entity. Ancient titans of the Galápagos wait silently for the sun's return. Without solar warmth, the archipelago reverts to a hostile volcanic wilderness. Hundreds of vulnerable bodies merge into an impenetrable, heat-retaining fortress against darkness. Interlocked like puzzle pieces, colonies exemplify ultimate biological resilience in harsh environments. As consciousness fades, the colony entrusts survival to collective mound warmth. Bound by solar rhythms, extraordinary inhabitants wait silently for dawn to rise. As the intense equatorial sun slips below the horizon, this dense huddle of marine iguanas has finally absorbed enough warmth to survive the night. Yet, an ocean away, deep within the thorny thickets of southern Madagascar, an entirely different nocturnal struggle is just beginning. Click here to witness the silent hunt in Madagascar's Spiny Labyrinth.